Hello and welcome to The Healing Way. My name's Richard Clark, and on this video I'll be talking about fields such as the electromagnetic field, the fields of the strong and weak nuclear effect and gravity, and how they apply to the healing methods that I've been working on. I also want to talk a little bit more about other things relating to these fields. Okay, fields, they're becoming more and more interesting. They are in effect the backbone of my healing methods. The methods that I'm developing, always in the background, are these fields. How to use the field for the current method, how to incorporate it into the current method, and what materials can be used to embody this field. After the first step, which was using the Liquid-Tabs, the washing powder, the washing liquid, to extract harmful energy, comes step 2, which uses the batteries and the electromagnetic field of the batteries quite a lot. I incorporated the batteries into step 1. For years I didn't use batteries in step 1, but then I've added the batteries to step 1 because it's such a useful thing. It makes the method go much deeper. It's much more pervasive. It goes in. It's hard to explain. It's a perception thing. You can see it working much better at a much deeper level on step 1. Step 2, healing with energy step 2, I don't think it would work without the batteries because the field is essential. Step 3 is the same. It doesn't use batteries, but it uses oils, which is embodies how energy radiates. And this, my understanding of it is, I've only got a layman's understanding of this. I'm not a scientist by any stretch of the imagination, but it embodies the weak nuclear effect. I think on earlier videos I've posted, I've said it's the strong nuclear effect, and I've read up on it since on Wiki, and that appears to be a mistake. It's the weak nuclear effect. Not that it matters. It'll matter to a scientist, but everyone else probably won't even notice. Yeah, so fields and how they work and what they do. I was interested to read up on what they're doing at CERN, if that's the right way of pronouncing it, and the Higgs boson, where it was postulated, Peter Higgs, I think in the 1960s, again, this is only my general understanding. If you want to know more, go on the internet. But he postulated, or a group of scientists postulated, that there was a field that imparted mass to particles. And this was quite interesting. It didn't set me off down this road because I've been using the batteries for years, the electromagnetic field of the batteries. But it did start me thinking about fields, and it's becoming more and more apparent that I feel like with fields I've got a second helper. There's me and there's something else there that's helping, and that is the fields. Now this normally would sound like airy-fairy stuff or science fiction or something. You know, you'd think, well, there's another one, another internet nutcase barking mad and reach for the what do they call it, the tinfoil hat and all this. But now particle physics is in the same position. They're saying the same thing. They're looking for the God particle, which, or they call it the God particle, which backs up their idea that there is a field that does this, that imparts mass to particles. And then I've read up a bit more about it. Much to my surprise, they then decided that at some point the particle needs to be massless. So the field then, when the particle needs to be massless, takes the mass out. So it puts it in, takes it out and puts it back in. A very convenient field. And it seems to me that, I mean, what are we saying here? Are we saying that this field does it mechanically? It's like some kind of, like a creature that just lives by instinct and does this by instinct? It doesn't seem possible to me. You know, I mean, you cannot, we can't do it. We're the highest level of creation on this planet. We can't do it. I wouldn't even know, I wouldn't be able to begin to know how to do something like that, let alone science and all that. I don't think they'll ever do anything like that. So we have a field that can perform miracles, apparently, very conveniently. And I'm finding the same in my healing work, that the fields are doing what is necessary to bring about a healing effect. Now, because I only put certain materials into the field, so I'm using batteries. Around the battery is the electromagnetic field. In with the batteries I place, say for instance, vitamins and minerals. That gives the field the ability to work on vitamins and minerals. You put the bag full of those products, those components, those materials onto a person, and the field has then got the capacity or the ability to work on vitamins and minerals, which it does. Or even more interestingly, it links up with the field in a person, the field that it appears that the immune system generates. The immune system generates its own field, and this isn't the only field in the body. This is the one I like to work with because it is the one that is concerned with health and the security and the integrity of the body. It won't allow anything that's not meant to be in the body, any invader, anything that shouldn't be there, it won't allow it. So here again we have another field that has a purpose, the immune system field. Then we have this electromagnetic field that heals according to a purpose, but it is limited because it can only heal what it is in contact with, and I put the materials of vitamins and minerals in contact with it, and it uses those materials in conjunction with the immune system to start to bring about a healing effect. And it's a very deep, very profound result in my view. What it does is amazing. But here we are again, everywhere I look we have these fields, and the fields on their own without the material content appear to have purpose and intent, right? So, and they're benevolent. Now, why they would want to do this, why if you give a field the ability to heal, it will heal, I do not know. But that is what's happening. Right, so that's the background of my methods, my techniques, to use each field individually to understand it and study it and see what it does and how it works and how deep it goes. I mean, the third, step 3, healing with energy, step 3. I mean, that's every day it's a revelation. I can't wait to start blogging and videoing about that one. But they're all revelations. I mean, once you start using this stuff, and there's two things here. Either they don't work and I can be just dismissed as some sort of internet nutcase, which is, you know, how it goes sometimes. Or it does work, and then we've all got to start thinking long and hard about what's going on, you know. Because these are completely new ways of doing things and completely new ways of studying and healing and understanding. It's a whole new science. The position I'm in is I can stay with one method probably for the rest of my life if I feel like it, and just develop that one, just study that one out. But I do feel it's more important to keep pioneering the methods, and then hopefully other people will become involved and they'll be able to work out each method, they become specialists in each method and work out more and more detail. But whatever happens, I really want people to do it as volunteers. I don't want what I'm doing here, my life's work, turned into a nice little earner for somebody. I'm dead opposed to that. There is no reason, in my view, why we can't help and heal our friends, our neighbours and our family. And if you need paying for that, there's something wrong with you. Quite frankly, it's not the way it works. And we've all got friends and family and neighbours. you know. So that covers the whole world. There shouldn't be anybody out there who is using my methods for their own gain, financial or personal or any other gain. Anyway, that's by the by. Let's get back to these fields. Now then, as I've been working and as I've been writing, it occurred to me that the mind is made up of these fields. The human being seems to be a focus, a concentration of energies. And those energies create fields or contain fields or have fields within them. It's unclear to me whether matter generates fields. I don't think that's the case. But without the matter, there isn't going to be a field. It's a bit odd. The matter, physical material, doesn't create the field, but there's no field without the physical material. Does the field control the matter? Not in a way, but not as we understand the word control. Perhaps works through is a better way of putting it. But the human being being this concentration of all these fields, it seems to me that the fields combine, unify might be a better word, or interlock, that might be the way of putting it. The four fields that we know of, and there might be more, combine to form what we call mind. Now that's interesting as well, because is mind a separate field? Is mind more than the sum of its parts if it's made up of these things? Now the next thing that my perception reveals to me, it's a cumbersome way of putting it, but it is, you perceive things, is that mind, most people's minds are not integrated. They look fractured, they're not, the parts do not line up. The parts are different angles to each other. It's like the four parts. You can see in some people the four individual parts of the fields that the mind appears to be made up of. That's the gravity, electromagnetic field, the strong and weak nuclear field. So you've got these fields that come together, but they're not integrating. And in those cracks in the mind, if you can put it that way, where the fields do not match up properly, where they do not join or come together properly, there are gaps. And in those gaps, that's where trouble lives. Trouble in terms of mental illness, mental problems, mental instability. So this is quite interesting. As I've blogged, it's not my place to get into mental illness. That's for specialists. I'm not trained. And quite frankly, I haven't got much inclination towards that area. I have worked on a few people with really serious mental problems in the past, and I've just bounced off. My methods mainly are physical methods for the physical body, things like arthritis and asthmas and migraines, and hopefully I can get them good enough to work on people, help people with MS and Parkinson's and motor neuron disease and all this really bad long-term stuff. That's the immediate aim. And mental illness has really not been a concern, and neither should it be, because as I say, I'm not trained in this way. It is a specialist thing that requires individuals of great character and great mental strength, in my view, to deal with and to help people with these problems. But the mind itself, if the mind itself is fractured or fragmented or harmed, and these methods inadvertently start to bring the component parts more into integration, that seems to me to be a different thing altogether. Because that, in a sense, is a physical thing. Now what appears to happen in the body is the fields become damaged. We have these fields working within us, but they become damaged, or they lose a component, they lose part of themselves, an essential part of themselves goes out of them. It almost seems like it's the part that is, I don't know if sentient is right, but it's a very important maybe intelligent. There's a part that disappears, and without that part, the four components can't harmonise, can't join up, can't become one. So what the healing methods seem to do is, by using these fields, it reintegrates the individual field in the body. What's the word? The integrity of the field is made right. The field, the individual fields within the body, and this is a side effect. I was never looking for this. I'm just looking for how to get some poor devil out of the pain of arthritis or something, migraine attacks. You know, I'm not looking for this at all. And then this whole side of it has started to develop. It's like you develop the method and then you see what's really going on. So that's another interesting thing. What's going to happen if this is the case? People will start shedding inhibitions and problems that they've had for years in their minds. Now don't get me wrong, don't say, oh well, this is the cure for that, I'll just stick with this and that'll do. If you're under doctor's care, if you're in the care of healthcare professionals, please stay on it. I'm only trying to point a way here, trying to explore things and say, well, what is possible and what isn't possible. There's a lot of very interesting possibilities. But as I've said on all my videos, everywhere, blogged, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician, a scientist, a therapist or anything else. I'm not trained in anything. I'm simply somebody with an interest. I'm very interested in this, I have a perception for this, and I'm trying to use it for the benefit of people. And that's as far as it goes. The idea is these methods actually can be taken and used and tested and tried and studied by qualified people for as long as they like. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not here to prove anything to anyone. The methods do that. I mean, if people they use the methods and the problem they have goes away, people can say, oh, well, it was a misdiagnosis, or it would have gone away, or it's fluctuating or something, anything like that. But if you do 100 people or 1,000 people and it all goes away in all of them, what other answer have you got? You know, it's not going to fluctuate on everybody. And I'm not so persuasive I can talk people out of this, you know, the placebo effect. I'm not that good. I'm not persuasive enough. Okay, fields. So, I think I've said all I want to say on this. This channel, as I say, is simply for these kind of videos. I hope if you've got this far, I haven't bored the hell out of you, and that you've got something out of it. I certainly got something out of it through talking, and I'm sure more progress will come. Okay, great. Thanks very much for getting us to the end. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.